Hey guys, and welcome. Do you know that feeling of being metaphorically punched in the gut after you're done watching a movie? Especially if the ending leaves you feeling like you've been chewed up and spat out by something. If you do know that feeling, you should probably seek professional help. Just kidding. Wrong channel for that. But if you do want to bury your own feelings deep down and escape into someone else's tragedy, even if it's just for an hour or two, you may be interested in this video. So whether it be a huge twist, a shattering revelation, or a haunting epiphany, these flicks will leave you feeling empty, uncomfortable, and unsettled. So keep watching for some of the most spirit-breaking, horrific, and devastating endings to some great movies. Number 1. Old Boy. Old Boy begins with a cruel enigma. Oh Dae-soo is abducted and confined to a claustrophobic room for 15 years, with no reason given, no contact with the outside world beyond the television. His release is just as abrupt, and instead of relief, he unsurprisingly needs to understand why. He wants vengeance, but he also needs meaning, or some explanation that will make his suffering coherent. That is the hook for Old Boy. It isn't just about revenge. It's about whether knowledge itself is a gift or a curse. At last, Dae-soo finds his tormentor, Woo-jin, who exposes the ultimate cruelty. The woman who gave Dae-soo his first taste of warmth and love in years is his own daughter. She too became a victim of Woo-jin's plan, as she was manipulated into his path as part of an elaborate revenge scheme. The answers about the past he longed for now destroyed his present. Every moment of intimacy becomes redefined as tragedy, as the horrific realization of having romantic feelings for his daughter breaks him completely. The audience is left watching as Dae-soo is reduced to pleading, mutilating himself in shame, and collapsing before his enemy like a broken animal. But the ending gets worse because of what happens next. Faced with truth, Dae-soo does not confront it. He begs to forget. Hypnosis becomes his final refuge, a way to erase the unbearable knowledge. In this, Old Boy presents one of the most unsettling ideas: that some truths are too heavy to live with, that survival may depend not on strength, but on selective blindness. The final scene, where Dae-soo smiles or grimaces in the snow, crystallizes this ambiguity. We are left unsure whether he has truly forgotten or whether he lives with the unbearable contradiction. And this is why the ending of Old Boy is so deeply disturbing and depressing. Dae-soo escapes the four wall prison he was in, but does he ever leave the one he ultimately built inside himself? In that sense, the film suggests something bleakly universal. Sometimes the truths we seek do not set us free. They destroy us, leaving us clinging to whatever illusions we can to keep moving forward. Number 2. Funny Games. On the surface, Michael Haneke's Funny Games begins like any number of home invasion thrillers. A wealthy family drives out to their secluded lakeside vacation home for a weekend of comfort and leisure. But almost immediately, things feel off. Two well-mannered young men, dressed in white gloves and speaking with an unsettling politeness, drop by under the pretense of borrowing eggs. Their civility quickly curdles into menace, and before long the family finds themselves trapped in a sadistic contest of humiliation and violence. What makes Funny Games so chilling is the way the killers control not only the family, but the story itself. They taunt their victims, but they also taunt us, occasionally glancing into the camera with a knowing smirk, as if to remind us that we're complicit in watching. The most infamous moment comes when the mother briefly manages to fight back, killing one of the intruders, only for the other to grab a remote control and literally rewind the film, erasing her victory and restoring their dominance. It's a cruel trick, and it underlines the point. In this world, resistance is meaningless. The killers decide the rules, and we are powerless to change the outcome. The ending drives us home with devastating force. After hours of torment, the young son is killed off screen, the father is bound and beaten, and finally, the mother is gagged and tossed into a lake, as casually as one might discard trash. The act is quick, almost mundane, and the killers don't linger on it. They simply move on to the next family, ready to repeat their game. There's no cinematic build-up, a sense of climax, just a flat, matter-of-fact execution. And that's precisely what makes it so disturbing. The violence isn't treated as a spectacle or a moral turning point. It's treated as routine, as meaningless. The depression sets in, not just because the family dies, but because of how empty their deaths feel. There's no last-minute escape, no hidden act of defiance, no punishment for the killers. Instead, the film ends with the same smirking intruders knocking on another door, the cycle ready to begin again. And that's what makes the ending of Funny Games so devastating.
Von hinten nach vorne, fehlerlos, aufsaugst, da darfst du dir nicht nur aussuchen, wer von euch beiden zuerst den Löffel abgibt, sondern auch, und das wird dich wahrscheinlich noch mehr interessieren,
Number 3, Requiem for a Dream. I think I was 12 years old the first time I saw this movie, and I wonder if it has contributed to my trajectory of seeking out similar content. So, Requiem for a Dream begins with the fragile dreams of 4 people. Harry, his girlfriend Marion, his best friend Tyrone, and his mother Sarah. Each of them is reaching for a better life. Harry and Marion imagine success and love, Tyrone dreams of escape from poverty, and Sarah longs for the glamour of appearing on television. Their desires aren't outlandish, they're very human. But Darren Aronofsky's movie shows how those dreams, when mixed with addiction, can collapse into nightmares. Drugs become both the means and the trap. Heroin promising escape for the young, amphetamines promising transformation for the old. The film builds like a fever, its frantic editing and pounding score giving the audience the impression of there no longer being a way out. The ending is what makes Requiem for a Dream so devastating. Each character reaches the bottom of their spiral. Harry loses his arm to infection, Tyrone ends up imprisoned and broken, Marion sells her body for drugs, and Sarah, delusional and hollowed out, drifts into catatonia in a psychiatric ward. Aronofsky doesn't give us a single moment of redemption. No lesson learned, no recovery. What makes it so disturbing is how ordinary the characters' dreams were. None of them set out to destroy themselves, and yet their desires, love, escape, recognition, become the very weapons that undo them. The final image shows each character curled up in a fetal position, which is also how I found myself after watching this movie.
On television? Those pills you take gonna kill you before you ever get on, for Christ's sake.
Big deal? You drove up in a cab? Did you see who had the best seat?
This movie. Number 4, Rosemary's Baby. Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby begins with the promise of a new life. Rosemary and her husband Guy move into an old New York apartment building. The building is grand, but there's something unsettling about it. They are young, hopeful, and planning a family. Dreams that should be the foundation of comfort and security. But from the start, although unease can be felt, it's hard to put your finger on what's actually causing the anxiety. The neighbors are attentive and friendly. Too attentive and friendly. Add to that some strange sounds, and Rosemary stops feeling like herself. Starts doubting her capacity to make reasonable decisions. What makes the film so disturbing is that Its horror isn't in jump scares or gore, but in the slow realization that the most intimate, sacred aspects of life, marriage, pregnancy, motherhood, are being corrupted by forces she cannot control. By the end of the movie, Rosemary, isolated and gaslit, comes to realize that her husband has traded her body and her child to a coven of Satanists in exchange for success as an actor. Now that's a sentence you don't hear often, I'm sure. The baby she carries is not just her child. It's the spawn of the devil, conceived in a ritual where she was drugged and violated. Yet the film denies her even the basic dignity of being believed. Every fear she voices is dismissed as hysteria, every protest swallowed by those around her who insist they know better. By the time the truth is undeniable, it's too late. Her pregnancy has been exploited, her body used as a vessel, and her husband stands complicit in her violation. The ending is what cements Rosemary's Baby as profoundly disturbing. When Rosemary finally sees her child, whose demonic features are left to the imagination, she doesn't scream, or kill, or reject him. Instead, she begins to rock the cradle. The ending is particularly interesting as it seems like Rosemary is on the edge between maternal instinct and total defeat. Has she chosen to love the child in spite of its origin, reclaiming some measure of agency, or has she simply surrendered, absorbed into the will of the cult, broken into complicity? What lingers after Rosemary's Baby is not the shock of satanic ritual, but the quiet despair of entrapment. Rosemary's left with no allies, no justice, no escape. Only the cradle and the knowledge that her child represents both her greatest loss and her only connection. The film's power lies in how it transforms something universal into something unbearable. The joy of motherhood twisted into a prison. That is why the ending is so depressing, because it leaves us with the sense that evil doesn't always announce itself with fire and brimstone. Also, besides the motherhood part, the idea of not being believed when you know something's not right, and being led to believe it's all due to your own mental state deteriorating, has got to be one of the worst things out there.
What have you done to it? What have you done to its eyes?
He has his father's eyes.
And finally, number 1, The Mist. Let's be honest, I couldn't have put any other movie as number 1. The moment the idea for this video popped in my head, I knew The Mist would be number 1. It is just so unforgettable. I still regularly think about the nightmare that is the end of this movie. So let's talk about why The Mist killed a part of me that I am never getting back. Directed by Frank Darabont, The Mist was adapted from Stephen King's novella. It begins with a simple premise. A small town is shrouded in an unnatural fog, and something monstrous lurks inside it. Survivors barricade themselves in a grocery store, watching as the mist creeps closer, hiding tentacled horrors and winged predators. At first, the story seems like a straightforward survival tale. Humans banding together against impossible odds. But quickly the film makes it clear that the real terror isn't just the creatures outside. It's what fear does to people on the inside. As panic spreads, order breaks down. Rationality is drowned out by fanaticism, paranoia, and despair. The monsters are terrifying, but human desperation proves just as deadly. But it's the ending that makes The Mist unforgettable and devastating. David, the protagonist, finally escapes the store with his young son and a small group of survivors. Driving blind through the fog, they soon run out of fuel, stranded in the endless whiteness with no hope of rescue. The distant roars of the creatures close in, and David makes the unthinkable choice. To spare his son and the others from a monstrous death, he shoots them, using the last of his bullets. And then he gets out of the car, ready for whatever's out there to take him. His mind must be imagining terrifying scenarios as he's certain a violent death will take him momentarily. But within moments, not even seconds later, salvation arrives. The mist begins to lift, the military rolls in, and order is being restored. He sees familiar faces, safe in vehicles, on their way, out of harm's way. David is left alone, screaming in anguish, condemned to live with the knowledge that he killed his son and friends unnecessarily. It's got to be the most cruelly ironic ending of all time. It's just absolutely tragic. Had he only waited another minute, survival was seconds away. But fear and hopelessness drove David to commit an irreversible act. Unlike most horror films, where sacrifice or strength earns survival, The Mist offers only futility. It suggests that the worst monsters aren't in the mist at all. They're in the despair that convinces us that we have no future, no reason to hold on. The horror is not the creatures devouring humanity. It's a father realizing he destroyed the very thing he was trying to protect. And those are some of my favorite movies with soul-crushing endings. This, of course, is by no way, shape, or form an exhaustive list, so definitely expect a part 2. And if you enjoy videos like this, videos that make you want to curl up into a ball and cry, then subscribe so that you don't miss the next installment. But until then, please let me know what your favorite movies with horrific endings are. And of course, thank you so much for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.